Hey guys, it's Jeff. Thanks for checking out my video today. This one's going to be a video that breaks down some of the things that we know about the Uvalde shooting, some of the realities of life, and some of my thoughts. So if you're interested in learning about what I know as of this video, then stay tuned. Alright guys, I'm back. Thanks for checking out this video. Like I said, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know where I got it right, where I got it wrong. This one's going to be a longer video. I'm going to try to shorten it as much as possible, but I have a lot to talk about in this video just because the events that occurred in Uvalde kind of hit close to home for me. Now, if you know me, you followed my channel for any amount of time at all, you know I'm in the South Central Texas region. So Uvalde to me is just a neighboring city. It's not that far away from where I am right now. So the events in Uvalde have hit close to home for me. This is not an isolated incident in New York or in California or in Florida. This is in Texas. This is in my neighborhood. This is within an hour from me. So this is something that I'm really interested in understanding because I want to know if there are actually things that can be done from a Second Amendment perspective, from a gun rights perspective, or are there things that could be done that just need to be done as a good responsible citizen in the United States in 2022, right? So I'm going to be going through some thoughts, some ideas, some information that we've learned so far as of the week later from this event. You know, it's been a week now since this event occurred. They started burying the young people that were killed that day. And so there's a lot more information that's come out about what occurred. And on top of all of that, I drove out there day before yesterday and I got video and I got to see things with my own two eyes. And I'm going to run some of that video in this video while I'm talking through some of this, right? Some of these topics. So what do we know? As of this point, we know how many people have died. We know how many people were injured. We know certain things. We have a timeline that's been published, even though that timeline has some inconsistencies, and it seems like every day we're learning a new detail about the timeline. However, what we do know is the shooter shot his grandmother and then didn't have a driver's license, drove to the school, crashed his car in a ditch right next to the school, got out of the car, started to approach the school from a side entrance. There was a parking lot there, a faculty parking lot that was on the left-hand side of the school. If you're facing the school, it was on the right-hand side. But there was a parking lot there that was a fairly recent addition. It looks like if you look at it on Google Maps, it was not there 10 years ago, and then all of a sudden it's there in 2021, right? So in 2011, if you scroll up and down that street there's no parking lot. You go to 2021, and now there's a parking lot, right? Also, what we know, there's a fire extinguisher outside of the door there. Now, if you're familiar with schools, I'm sure most of you have gone to school. You've probably seen teachers do things like this. They'll take something that's handy, that's easy to access, and they'll stick it there and they'll prop that door open because they want to get to their car. They don't want to have to go all the way around the outside perimeter of the school to go in and out of the school and get items out of their car. Now, we do know in this particular instance, a teacher did go out from inside of the school, did go out that side entrance to her car. Apparently, she was getting something from her car, something to eat. I don't remember the details. It doesn't matter. She was getting something out of her car. She admits to propping the door open. The fire extinguisher's there. I've got video of it. You can see that it's there. So she goes back into the school. Now she's lawyered up and saying that she didn't leave the door open, she didn't leave it propped open, whatever, etc., and that the door closed and it should have locked. Well, did it close? Did it close? I don't know. Sounds fishy. There's more investigation that has to come out. I want to hear what these teachers say under a sworn deposition about what their actions were that day, if they actually pulled that door closed. Is there video? Should there be video? We have some video of him coming through the parking lot and entering that side door. We don't know if it was locked. We don't know if it was unlocked. We don't know if it was propped open or not propped open. We can't see from the angle, but we know he got into the school, and we know that there was a common occurrence that the faculty in that school were going in and out of that door. Should they have been? I don't know. What are the policies? What are the processes? And what are the procedures for the faculty of that school? If that's a hardened entry point and it shouldn't be left open like that, maybe we need to put alarms there, right? But I'm going to come to my thoughts as about what we should or shouldn't do as I progress through this. So the police were on scene within 5 minutes. We know this, right? We know that there was CISD, the county or the school district police were on scene within 5 minutes. We know that police exchanged fire with the gunman before he entered the building. Again, within 5 minutes. We know that there were cops that made it into the building and were outside of the classroom while he was killing those kids. We know that they attempted to engage with him and they stood down once they started receiving fire. So we know certain things occurred. What we don't know are the nuanced details. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Those kinds of things are coming out. They're starting to trickle out, but we don't know all of the details. What we do know is that when the incident commander on scene was made aware that the shooting had stopped, he made the decision to stand down and to not breach that classroom. So the police officers sat outside of that classroom while they were shooting. I don't know. I think those details are still yet to be solidified, but we know that there were police in that hallway. We know that there were kids that were still alive in that classroom and that they could have gone in and stopped the threat, but the incident commander made the decision to stand down and go into a hostage crisis situation instead of pushing the issue and trying to take the gunman out. Right call, wrong call. I think we all know it was the wrong call. We have the benefit of hindsight. What could the incident commander or incident command system had done better? We're going to learn those details, and I know that politicians are already talking about that. So anyway, I want to go through some of the realities, and then I'm going to give you some of my thoughts about what we could do as a society to help reduce the damage from these types of incidents, maybe even prevent these incidents in the future. So bear with me. I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. So the reality of the situation, first reality, the shooter stopped when bullets were put into him. He continued in that classroom until he either ran out of bullets, which I don't think he ran out of bullets, but he did stop when bullets went into him. So we know that guns saved lives in this particular incident. Second reality, guns in the hands of a government employee were not a deterrent for this guy. He knew that he was going into a gun-free zone. He probably has scoped that out in his crazy, stupid-ass mind. And so he knew he was going into a place that he would be able to do whatever he wanted unmolested. Third reality, you're the only one that can save yourself. In a crisis, no one is coming for you. You know these cliches keep getting said over and over and over again. When seconds count, the police are only minutes away. In this case, they were 77 minutes away. Now, I didn't touch on that yet, but 77 minutes from the beginning of this incident to the time it concluded. How many lives could have been saved had those police officers made entry into that building or made entry into that classroom? Bad decisions. I think we all agree. Bad decision. Anyway, fourth reality. There are 350 million guns in the United States. Now, we've seen the statistics about how many rifles are used to commit murders every year. And we know that if you compare it to the other types of weapons, including hands and fists, that rifles, AR-15s specifically, are not used that often. Now, they are used, but they're not used that often in comparison to other types of weapons. They're big, they're bulky, they're hard to maneuver. A trained shooter can do some real damage with an AR-15, but that doesn't negate the effectiveness or the deadliness of any of the other rounds that are used. As Joe Biden said, a 9mm will blow your lung out. Well, he's a moron. Anyway, for fifth reality, had one of those teachers been armed, that whole event could have been stopped the minute he came into that school. We don't know. We'll never know. Those teachers will never be allowed to be asked, but I think if they had the chance to do it all over again, would they change their position? I don't know. But what isn't happening, and I'll get into what isn't happening in my recommendations, but what is being said is that nobody stands a chance against an AR-15. Well, I'm here to tell you that if a .22 enters your brain, you will be dead on the spot, and people live their entire lives having been hit with .308 rounds. So a large caliber AR-10 type round versus a plinking round out of a .22, one can kill you just as dead as the other one can. There's no difference in this other than people's own ignorance. in understanding that the AR-15 does not stand for assault rifle, and it is no more deadly than any other bullet that enters the human body. It's shot placement and shots on target. And if one of those teachers had the ability to defend themselves and the wherewithal to defend themselves, and the Constitution, not the Constitution as written, but the individual personal makeup of their individuality to protect those children, if they had the Constitution to protect their children with the intelligent knowledge that knowing that they were their own first responder and they took that responsibility to carry that day, would that outcome have been different? We'll never know. So that leads me into what we can do as a society, right? We've heard that, you know, that the incident command system was a problem. We heard that the chief gave a stand down order. We heard that there was bad communications between the on-scene officers and the officers that were making the decisions. We know that they didn't have the right equipment. And now everybody needs ballistic vests. Well, they had ballistic vests. Everybody needs ballistic shields. Well, do they really? Or did they just have a bad situation that nobody even attempted to put themselves at risk? So that leads me into what I think we could have done differently. So we know that there were problems with the response. We know that there were problems with the emergency management processes that were in place. We don't know if it was the equipment yet, or if it wasn't the equipment, or if it was the training or the processes. But what we do know is that the adults that were in that classroom were not equipped to defend themselves. So what do I recommend? We teach gun safety in the schools again. We know that we have a Second Amendment, and until we modify the Constitution or modify the Bill of Rights, we're going to continue to have a Second Amendment. You want to have a constitutional convention? You want to talk about amending the Constitution and getting a whole bunch of things changed? Well, let's have that conversation. But passing these piecemeal gun laws is not the approach. So let's educate these people. Let's educate our students. Let's educate our faculty, our staff, our administrators in these schools about their personal protection, about taking charge of their own lives and not becoming a servant of government. Having a firearm is simply a tool. Let's teach people to start using this tool effectively, efficiently, and safely, so that people that want to use this tool, we can give them a process by which we feel secure enough as a society to credential that person. And schools are a place where guns are prohibited by the average citizen. The you and I, the fathers, the mothers, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, we can't carry our guns on school grounds for any reason whatsoever, because we haven't been vetted in a way that government approves of. So let's give the citizenry a way to get that credential so that we can carry everywhere a police officer can. I've had the same training. I understand the law. I understand use of force continuum. I understand practices and processes. I understand policy. I understand tactics and strategy. Give me a path by which I can be just as capable of exercising my rights as a police officer can. Why do we have to wait for a government employee to show up to protect us in certain places in this country? Schools are gun-free zones. They are over and over, they are becoming murder zones. And we are our own worst enemy when we try to intellectually negotiate where places are that we should be able to protect ourselves or not. And I think we've learned time and time again that these murderers know exactly where they're going to be able to inflict the most carnage, and we need to remove them from that ability. Teachers are already serving their communities. Why remove their right to carry in the classroom if they want to because of an administrator in the school board not wanting to take on that liability of allowing a teacher? I think that's irresponsible. I think it's neglectful. I think we're seeing time and time again that we shouldn't be doing that, and these school boards need to hear from the parents. If you're a parent and you want your children to be protected, why not put some of that capability in the teachers that you're already empowering with your children's lives? Give them a path to allow them to do that, but educate these teachers that they are their own best first responders, and that when seconds when seconds count because a crazed lunatic comes through a side door that they shouldn't be going into and they can walk into your classroom, you're looking at them eye to eye and they're pulling the trigger and they're taking lives, and you have the ability to throw an eraser at them, or you can pull your handgun and start putting rounds into that person. Which would you rather have? If you were an administrator, if you were a teacher, if you were a parent, which would you rather have? That person that you've entrusted your child's life to, would you want them to have the ability and some basic fundamental training so that they could start returning fire on a potential deadly threat? Or do you want them to just stand there and wait for their turn? I think that's a tough question. I think these are tough times. But this is the world that we live in. And I think that unless we start having these intellectually honest conversations, that these events are going to continue to happen over and over and over again. I don't think money is the solution in this. I think money can help. I think that they're creating some of these training programs would help. I think securing doors would help, and creating alarm systems would help, etc., etc. But I don't think they're the end all be all. We are our own first responders. And I think it's time that we start telling ourselves and everyone around us that when seconds count, the police, the government employees, the people that we've given guns and badges to are only minutes away. And if they don't ever show up, and there's no liability that's ever going to be held against a government agency for failing to help you. It's gone to the Supreme Court dozens of times. So with that said, guys, I think we have processes in place since 9/11. We have the National Incident Management System, and I'm just going to read what that is for people who don't know or don't understand. The National Incident Management System provides a systematic, proactive approach to guide departments and agencies of all levels of government, non-governmental organizations, and private sector to work seamlessly to prevent, protect against, respond to, recover from, and mitigate the effects of incidents, regardless of cause, size, location, or complexity, in order to reduce the loss of life and property and harm to the environment. That's our National Incident Management System. That is practiced at every level of government across the United States. In every rural city, state, county, municipal area, they have heard of, a professional organization has heard of the National Incident Management System. They know about it. They're aware of it. They know how it works. They practice it. They train for it. They know what to do. And in this incident, there were lapses. Somebody gave bad information to the incident commander. The incident commander gave a bad order, and lives were lost because of it. So there's a training opportunity here. There's things that can be learned from here. And I think we all need to learn a lot of lessons from this. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And we need to really give a hard look at individual rights and individual safety and individual responsibility. It was what this country was founded on. And so with that, guys, I'm going to end this one here. Hopefully you've made it this far. I know this is a long video, and I really appreciate you sticking with me on this one. Hopefully this has sparked some ideas. This has sparked some conversation in your own family, in your own lives. And if you think I got anything right or you think I got anything wrong, please throw it in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to you. I want to learn from you as much as you want to learn from what you're looking at on YouTube. So let's have a conversation about this. And with that, guys, I'm going to say stay safe, stay vigilant, stay active, stay in the fight. Even if there's a gunman in your room, stay in the fight. And I'll see you again soon. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.